Hey everybody, I'm going to talk to you guys about lessons 11.1 and 11.2. So you can see on your screen the first problem I have here is x plus 5 equals 15, where x equals 10. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug that 10 in wherever I see a variable. So I'm going to say, okay, well, we got 10 plus 5 equals 15. So my goal here is to see, does the left side equal the right side? So 10 plus 5 I know is 15 equals 15. So I would say that for x equals 10, that is a solution for x plus 5 equals 15. And then let's do another problem. What if I had y divided by 4 equals, let's say, 20, where y equals, let's make it 40. Okay, so y equals 40. Pull this down a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead again. I'm going to plug this 40 in where I see a variable. So I'm going to say, okay, 40 divided by 4 equals 20. And I'm going to see if that's true. So I could do a little bit of work over here and say, okay, 40 divided by 4. 4 times 1 is 4, so subtract that out. Bring down the 0. 0 divided by 4 is 0. So my solution is 10 and 20. 10 does not equal 20. So up at the top where it says where y equals 40, I would say this is not a solution. Okay, so that's pretty much the gist of 11.1. Now I'm going to go into 11.2. Let's see if I can go down and make this a little bit bigger. Whoa, not sure what happened there. And I'm going to go ahead and see if I can do a... There we go. Well, that's a footer. I don't really want that. I want a new page. So let's just go ahead and open up a new blank document. Here we go. Perfect. Okay. So go to my draw tool, and this is going to be 11.2. This is the lesson that we did pretty much yesterday and today. So here we're going to talk about expressions and expressions going into equations. Now the word equal is in the word equation. So we want to see, okay, well, what if we had x plus 2 equals 10? Now I know what you're saying right off the top of your head. You're like, that's 8. Easy. Well, let's see what's actually going on here. And we're going to do that by using, remember those algebra tiles? Okay. And we know that we can say that x can be represented by that rectangle. And then we can say 2 little boxes. That's my 2 ones. Now what we're concerned here is, do you see that red line that I just put there? I'm making a left side and a right side. I want to see, does the one side equal the other side? And how are we going to do that with these algebra tiles? Well, since I drew the left side, I'm going to go ahead and draw the right side. How do I draw 10 using those algebra tiles? I'm going to go ahead and draw 10 little boxes. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And all of these are pluses because we have a positive 10 there. Okay. The key here is I want x by itself. So how do I get x by itself? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to remove these 2 tiles. So you can see x is now by itself over here. I'll point to it right here. X is now by itself. So x equals, I got rid of those 2 tiles. Now here's the key. Whatever I do to the left side, I have to do to the right side. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get rid of these 2 tiles because x is by itself. Now the key is whatever I have left, that's my answer. So let's see, I'm going to count these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have 8 left. My answer is x equals 8. Now I can check that. I'm going to do a check over here. Let's see, I'll do that in blue's fine. I'm going to plug in x, or 8 for x, because I know it now. 8 plus 2 equals 10. I do the calculation here. 8 plus 2 is 10. 10 equals 10, so I'm good to go. Let's do another quick problem. What if we were to do something like, how about 2b equals 10? Everything that we're doing in lesson 11.2 has to do with inverse operations, or the opposite. So I say to myself, well, what's going on with that 2b? I know from the last example, I need b by itself. So how do I do that?
Powering off.
Oh, my speaker just turned off. Okay, so if I have the 2 times b, well, what's the opposite of multiplication? Division. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to divide this side by 2. And the reason I did that is now I can go ahead and cancel these two out, these two 2's out. B is now by itself. But remember how I divided this equation? Whatever I do to the left side, I got to do to the right side. So I'm going to go ahead and divide this side by 2. And we know that's 10 over 2, so that's an improper fraction. 10 over 2 means 10 divided by 2. 10 divided by 2 equals 5. So that means b equals 5. Can we check that? Yep. Here's my check. I'll take my 2, my original 2, plug in 5 for b, and the rest of the equation equals 10. Do the multiplication. 2 times 5 is 10. 10 equals 10. I am good to go. We can do that with subtraction too. I'm going to go ahead and get a new sheet right here. What if I had x minus 2 equals, 14? How do I get x by itself? Well, I see x on the left. I have a minus 2. What's the opposite of subtraction? Addition. So I'm going to go ahead and add 2 here. 2 plus 2 is 0, so that means x is now by itself, because remember, we have that equation split down the middle. You don't have to write that line there, but if it helps, go for it. Whatever I do to the left side, I have to do to the right. So since I added 2 to make these 2 go away, I'm going to go ahead and add 2 over here. 14 plus 2 is 16. That means x equals 16. Let's do a check. I plug in 16 for x. The rest of my expression, 16 minus 2 equals 14. I do the math. 16 minus 2 is 14. 14 equals 14. So I am good to go. There is one more thing I want to show you. What if we had a line that looked like that, and then we had an angle that we know is 45 degrees, and this angle over here is x. We don't know what it is. Well, if you remember, a line going straight across is 180 degrees. We know these two angles added together will equal this straight line. So basically what I'm looking for is I'm trying to figure out what is this angle. Well, if I know that I have 45 degrees plus an unknown angle, that should equal the 180 degrees. Well, guess what? I do the exact same thing that we've been learning. So how do I get x by itself? I'm going to subtract 45 from this side. And it's okay that now my variable's on the right side. It's fine. So now x is by itself. Well, you guessed it. Whatever I do to the, in this case, whatever I do to the right side, I have to do to the left side. So I'm going to go ahead and say, well, I can't take 5 away from 0, so I'm going to need to regroup. 10 minus 5 is 5. 7 minus 4 is 3. 1 minus nothing is 1. So my unknown angle for that original problem is 135 degrees. Let's check it. How do I check it? I'm going to take my answer of x, 135, plus the 45 degrees that I know. 5 plus 5 is 10. 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 1 is 8. 1 plus nothing is 180. What if I had a problem that looked like this? Okay, hopefully you're screaming out loud, that's a right angle. A right angle is 90 degrees. And if you think about it, it's half of a straight line. Okay, so what if I had an angle that went like this, and we'll say, oh, that's, I don't know, I'm going to make it 40 degrees. I know it's not exact, but that's fine. So how do we solve for this angle? Well, if we know the entire thing is 90 degrees, and we know if we add these two angles together, it'll equal 90 degrees. I got 40 plus x. And then just like we've been working on, I'm going to take 40 away from this side. I'm going to take 40 away from this side. So that way x is by itself. And I'm kind of running out of room. These two will cancel each other out. So I'm going to move over here. So x equals, well, 90 minus 40, that's 50. And don't forget your degree symbol. 50 equals x. I hope that helps. If you have any questions, shoot me an email. Let me see if I can get out of here. Have a great day. Bye.